Graduands, guests and colleagues, my name is Edward Joyner and I am delighted to welcome you to graduation. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Graduands, at the appropriate time you will be invited by the stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. Firstly, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure you make your way up the stairs. Please don't wait until they have passed across the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. Secondly, don't let excitement and pride overwhelm you so much that you forget to pick up your degree parchment. If you do, don't worry, you will have still graduated. But don't try to go back, because you will collide with someone coming the other way. Instead, please visit the graduation information desk in the Spring Lane building 30 minutes after the ceremony to collect your parchment. At the end of the ceremony, graduates are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you the exits once the graduates have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and we will escort you to the nearest exit. As graduates, you will join an international community of over 123,000 York alumni in 183 countries. The York Alumni Association organises many events, networks and services designed to help you make connections with other alumni across the world and boost your career prospects. Please visit the Alumni Association stand and photo booth in the Spring Lane building, where you can also pick up your graduation gift to welcome you to the Alumni Association. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you're doing. Understanding the career paths that you take will help us to provide the right support for current students and make sure we offer graduates like you relevant information and opportunities. Finally, please turn off your mobile phones, and will you all now please stand?
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I declare this congregation open for the conferment of awards. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, as Chancellor of the University of York, it just gives me fantastic pleasure to welcome everybody here today. And I know people have come not only from across the historic county of Yorkshire, but across the rest of England, across the rest of the UK, across the rest of Europe, and from around the world, because this is a very special day for every one of us. These events are a combination of a formal ceremony and of a huge celebration. The formal ceremony is along these lines, that each of these candidates who sits in front of us we currently call a graduand, and then by virtue of the alchemic powers that are vested in me, I convert them as they walk across here from graduands to graduates. And that Latin distinction is so important. Why? Well, because each one of the degrees that we award today has a Latin base. The bachelor's degree, the baccalaureus, the master's degree, the magistry, and the doctorate degree comes from the Latin docere, which is to teach. And so it is a license to teach, but much more in our times, a mark of huge distinction of those who have devoted 3 or 4 or even more years of their life focusing in on one area of study, which adds to the knowledge of mankind. Amongst the doctorates, we have the Doctor of Philosophy, which, in accordance with ancient tradition of never actually being accurate in what it describes, is not a doctorate in the subject of philosophy, but again from that Latin root. Philo meaning love, and sophos meaning wisdom. These are truly doctors of the love of wisdom. But in addition to the Doctor of Philosophy, universities confer higher degrees, the Doctorate of Literature or of Law. These are degrees which are in some cases awarded on the basis of a lifetime of published works, and usually to alumni of the university, but also by special exception are awarded as honorary degrees, those degrees which reflect the extraordinary contribution that an individual has made to knowledge and to the advancement of their discipline. And today we'll be very privileged to confer such an honorary degree on Dr. Athene Donald, who will have her virtues and experiences and strengths outlined shortly by our orator. So why do I talk about the structure of degrees and about the Latin? And why are we standing here in monastic garments, which are identical to those being stood in or sat in Thailand, in America, in Latin America, and across the rest of Europe, as if we've come out of a 16th century monastery? The answer is a reflection of the enduring qualities of universities as long-term and long-run institutions. Institutions which struggle with the present, but institutions which project themselves into the future. And our ambition being to inject into our graduates those ambitions and that knowledge which will equip them for what the world has in store. I find that deeply reassuring, that sort of model of what a university is, because the world itself has probably never been such an uncertain place. The dissolution of consensual politics across the world, the creation of new models of truth or fake truth, or truth as a relative as opposed to an objective thing to be studied in laboratories and libraries, which is where our universities remain standing absolutely fundamentally and committed. But we're also, I think, on the brink of an extraordinary technological revolution. We've been through the first, which was the use of water and steam power to drive production. We went through the second, which was the use of electricity to drive mass production. The third, which has been around IT and data science to automate production. And now the fourth, which is much more around the future use of data and of intelligence, augmented intelligence, and finding different ways of modeling the capacity of the human brain through machines, but to do things that the human brain never could do itself. And it leaves us, I think, at a stage in the development of society where there are some very stark alternatives lying ahead of us. Model one is an alternative in which machines do those things for which we used to be paid and which we used to call work or jobs. And that is a hollowing out of employment, which previously took place in the respect of hot, noisy, and dirty and dangerous jobs on the shop floor, but which now threatens those jobs of the professional middle classes across the world. Accountancy and auditing can be largely automated by using new models of artificial intelligence and neural circuitry. They can also extend across into every area where it's possible to actually define what the job is. The more accurately we can define the job, the more likelihood there is that it can be done in the future by a machine. This comes on the back of a process of globalization that over the past 30 years has brought vast sectors of the world's population out of grinding poverty. This has created a significant increase in GDP in nations like China and India and elsewhere across the world, has reaped a remarkable rebalancing of wealth across the world, albeit that has still some distance to go. But the real wealth of nations of the future is not the wealth of capital. I would suggest to you the new wealth is talent. That which will prevail in the future of all of our societies is talent. So that one of the consequences of the new technological revolution is an expansion of inequality between rich and poor, and particularly in our more advanced societies. But the other quality, which we must all strive for, is that this doesn't result in gross inequalities, but that we as intelligent human beings grapple with the future technologies and use them so as to reduce inequality, so as to create employment, so as to find new ways not only of making products, but of developing cultures that absorb the needs of mankind. I'm reminded of the story of a graduate of a university, not this one, who had been recruited and contracted to become a management trainee in a major corporation. He turned up on the first day and met the CEO, who welcomed him. He said, "Absolutely been looking forward for so long to your arrival. Now, your first task, take this broom and go down and sweep out the foyer." And the management trainee said, "Well, I'm sorry, there's clearly been a serious mistake here. I'm a management trainee." And the CEO apologized and said, "I'm terribly sorry, I've completely overlooked that. Here, give me the broom and I'll show you how it works." So I use the story solely to demonstrate nobody is entitled to a job. Everybody has to earn it, but nobody could be more prepared for that than a graduate of the University of York. Thank you.
Today we celebrate the achievements of students, and we also wish to recognise the staff who have contributed to your success. York has an outstanding record of teaching excellence, and what students will remember long after graduation are the individual members of staff and graduate teaching assistants who have supported, challenged, and inspired them. The Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Awards recognise and reward both individuals and teams who have made an outstanding impact on the student learning experience. All holders of these awards have demonstrated excellence in their teaching or the support they give for learning, delivered with energy, care and commitment. A Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Award has been made to Dr. Annie Hodgson from the Department of Chemistry. And a Vice-Chancellor's Teaching Award has been made to Thomas Schutt from the Department of Physics.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry. For research in synthesis and application of iron catalyst, Suleiman Ahmed. For research in the effect of structure on liquid crystal dimers, Craig Archbold. For research in work on the enzymes involved in Gaucher's disease, Imogen Breen. For research in exposure of pharmaceuticals in an urban river, Emily Burns. For research in greener solvents to replace toluene, Fergal Byrne. For research in structure and reactivity in ionic liquids, Christopher Cabri. For research in silver-catalyzed dearomatization reactions, Amy Clark. For research in organic nitrogen species in the atmosphere, Naomi Farron. For research in developing chemosensors for atmospheric radicals, Andrew Grantham. For research in hair protein photodegradation, mechanistic insights, Philip Groves. For research in valorization routes for citrus and potato waste, Joseph Horton. For research in the total synthesis of natural product, Xiao Yin Ting. For research in the investigation of the lithiation of N-heterocycles, Adam Islip. For degree in the optimization of biomass valorization processes, Li Chenjung. For research in characterization of unspecific peroxygenases, Tamara Milka. For research in mesoporous carbon materials, Andrea Munoz Garcia. For research in time-resolved electron diffraction, João Nunes. For research in biotransformations with 2-OG-dependent hydroxylases, Muhaddin Omar. For research in analytical methods for past climate reconstruction, Cezary Pawlowski. For research in studies on the prebiotic origin of 2-deoxyderibose, Andrew Steer. For research in visible light-active selective photocatalysis, Christopher Unsworth. For research in orthogonal self-assembly of bioactive hydrogels, Vanya Vieira. For research in real-time analysis of glycome and tissue surface, Wang Chung Yao. For research in embedding self-assembled nanofibers in fabrics, Elizabeth Wheeldon. For research in structural studies of viral large terminases, Zhu Rui Gang. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Chemistry, Peter Hardwidge. Matthew Hawkridge. Kiri Thornley. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Adam Barrett. Liam Bateson. Matthew Best. Daniel Bryant. Eleanor Michi-Burrow. Bradley Chalice. Holly Clark. Sam Copeland. Jack Davison. Jack Doyle. Jonathan Eastwood. Kieran Gore. Thomas Gray. Nicholas Greaves. Robert Green. Kieran Hall Walsh. Craig Hardy. Marianne Haslam. Rebecca Howarth. Benjamin Yankso. Jack Jones. Jamie Kelly. John Kendrick. Claire Louise Lancaster. Cassandra Lewis. Peter Lindley. Lewis Marden. Alice McKellen. Lawrence McClellan Bastidas. Mariana Musanis, I'm sorry. Rana Mitra. Catherine Newton. Hannah Parrott. Thomas Payne. John Perrott. Timothy Pilbeam. Joseph Pollock. Ben Richmond. Alistair Robinson. Joe Simpson. Daniel Stoddart. Luke Terry. Edward Thurkel. Samuel Tunier. Annie Trevis. Nicole Tooley. Sophie Wayne. Jake Walpole. Tom Ward. Morgan Whittaker. Hugo Williams. Emily Woodhouse. Emma Wright. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry with a Year Abroad, Hannah Crump. Charlotte Day. Kate Lefroy. Hannah Lenoir. Natasha Riley. Edie Sandstrom. Peter Shaw. Peter Truren. Xiao Sheng Song. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry with a Year in Industry, Nicholas Banks. Patrick Barker. Ollie Bonfield. Jonathan Burt. Cao Chung. Emily Cope. Charlotte Crompton. Max Donald Ford. Luke Fakes. Samuel Foster. Matthew Gill. Barbara Hadris. Anna Hall. Kelly Hurd. Katie Helm. Amy Hillier. Bethan Horsfield. Anna Jevons. Michael Jones. Oscar Lloyd Williams. Daniel McClure. Hannah McMahon. Samuel Meacham. Claire Morley. Kate Murphy. Peter Newbury. Millie Pearson. Daniel Ponsford. Vanessa Portman. James Richardson. Eloise Rivlin Derrick. Frank Simpson. Kelly Spry. Ellie Stammers. Thomas Stokes. Andrew Strayton. Ross Thomas. Andrew Tiberia. Amy Wilson. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry, Sarah Barras. Jack Dickinson Fogg. Daniel Johnson. Nico Kopalainen. Nicholas Kyriakou. Cameron Lockie. Rhys Mills. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry with a year abroad, Helena Bland. Philip David MacArthur. Alex Simpson. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry with a year in Industry, David Dave. Luke Everell Taylor. Catherine Hill. Sarah Heinsohn. William Michael Hodds. Nathan Knight. Mark Short. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Management and Industry with a year in Industry, Virginia Maria Donadio. Jacob Whittaker. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Resources and the Environment, Ian Roberts. Jeremy Wardle. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Resources and the Environment with a year abroad, Natasha Bradford. For the degree of Master of Chemistry in Chemistry, Resources and the Environment with a year in Industry, Rachel Emerson. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Francesca Ashby. Joseph Bailey. Tanya Bailey. Adam Beckett. Elliot Bedford. All right, okay. Paige Boxall. Charlotte Bramley. Suzanne Cherry. James Crawford. George Edwards. Jack Fellows. Harry Foster. Dom Gunstone. Alexa Holland. Callum Holliday. Alex Howells. Rachel Johnson. Alexander King. Poppy Martin. Jacob Mortlock Williams. Erin O'Brien. Jack Percy. Benjamin Reeder. Alice Smallwood. Ben Thorburn. Matthew Whitaker. Toby Eden. Amber Yeoman. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Biological and Medicinal Chemistry, Jessica Entwistle. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, Management and Industry, Hayley Blanfin. Andrew Frampton. Charles Pegram. Carew Rowley. Frederick Zitzman. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, Amelina Makhadi.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ensemble E-Anonomy will perform Moondance by Van Morrison, arranged by George Clark, followed by Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel, arranged by Ellie Pybus.
Well, it's a marvelous night for a moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance neath the cover of October skies. And all the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breezes that blow. And I'm trying to please to the calling of the heartstrings that play soft and low. And all the night seems to wait. And all the sun of the dawn seems to shine in your blush. Well, I wanna make love to you tonight. I can't wait for the morning to come. Now I know now the time is just right, and straight into my arms you will run. And when you come, my heart will be ready to make sure that you're never alone. There and then all my dreams will come true. There and then I will make you my own. When you love every time I touch you, you just cry. And now I know how much you want me that you can hide. Bring down my love. Bring down Can I just have one more moon dance with you, my love? Wow, 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 wow. feeling small when tears are in your eyes. I will dry them up. I'm on your side. Oh, when times get rough and friends just can't be found, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, when evening falls so hard, I will comfort you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and pain is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down, like a bridge over troubled water. I will lay me down. Sail on, silver girl, sail on board. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams on their way. See how they shine. Oh, if you need a friend, I'm sailing right behind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your mind, like a bridge over troubled water. I will ease your I will ease your mind.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Natural Sciences, specialising in archaeology. Carrie Grimbleby. Carolyn Roberts. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Natural Sciences, specialising in biology, Ella Bankin. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Natural Sciences, specialising in chemistry, Adam Stewart. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Natural Sciences, specialising in neuroscience, Georgios Minola. Federico Segala. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Natural Sciences, specialising in physics, Maria Findlay-Wilson.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present the following candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Physics. For research and modelling of polycrystalline materials, Jonathan Bean. For research in shape coexistence in gold and astatine nuclei, James Cubis. For research in Raman spectroscopy studies of stem cells, Raquel de Almeida Rocha Ponce. For research in Raman spectroscopy applied to archaeological shells, Andre de Lima Ponzoni. For research in study of microwave startup in tokamak plasmas, Erasmus du Toit. For research in rotational excitation of the Hoyle state, Ruchi Garg. For research in atomic structure of topological insulators, Arsham Kashemi. For research in energy levels of neon-19 and their impact on novae, Jocelyn Riley. For research in interaction effects in magnetic granular systems, Sergio Ruta. For research in experimental plasma physics, Alistair Wynne. For the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Plasma Science and Fusion Energy, for research in modelling electromagnetic wave interaction in fusion reactors, Matthew Thomas. For the degree of Master of Science by Research in Physics, Irena Athatheta. Megan Jenkinson. Thomas Schutt. Mara Strangari. Sai Kantam. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics, Harry Bartley. Susanna Beanland. Emma Brock. Carl Chan. Daniel Cheshire. Ian Chipchase. Lillian Clark. Nathan Costin. Devani Dave. Gemma Davison. Taylor Dedman. Amelia Hall. Edward Harding. Caroline Holroyd. Emma Hume. Alexander Jones. Theo Knowles. Marcus Law. Joseph Mitchell. Thomas Sanders. Alexander Scott. Christopher Stanley. Luke Tetley. Dominic Burnham. Adam Williams. Alexander Wright. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with a year abroad, Catherine Keel. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with a year in Industry, James Davies. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with Astrophysics, Megan Agalawate. Liam Atkins. Jack Bartle. Archie Cable. Bradley Dunkley. Caitlin Hinchcliffe. Philip Jennings. Andreas Mangeras. Adam Marshall. Edward Snowden. Jonathan Taylor. Joseph Thompson. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with Astrophysics with a year in Industry, Chloe McElveny. For the degree of Master of Physics in Physics with Philosophy, Ryan Davies. For the degree of Master of Physics in Theoretical Physics, Robert Forrest. Carl Hawkins. Adam Laverack. Ewan Richardson. Simon White. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and Physics, Catherine Anastasiou. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics, Alexander Ascroft. Ryan Baldwin. Samuel Borrington. Ramandeep Raj. Ying Chung. Helen Crockett. Alban Darko. Sarah Fretwell. Luke Frodsham. Binod Limbu. Joshua Mayle. Alexander Mayany. Peter Mills. Sam Orchard. Suraya Patel. Liam Roberts. Benjamin Rogers. Po Sim. Raoul Stein. Luke Watkins. Alexander Wilde. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with a year in Europe, Jasper Grimm. Thomas Sylvester. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with a year in Industry, Anya Matthews. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with Astrophysics, Hermione Ellen Morley. Natalie Greenwood. Katrina Jackson. Ellie Morrell. Frederick Muggleston. James Quine. Michael Richardson. Mark Smith. Charles Stafford Roberts. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics with Philosophy, Camilla Zuru. For the degree of Bachelor of Science in Theoretical Physics, Matthew Brummett. Charles Copping. Lawrence Grant. Daniel Kirk. Wayne Lack. Sam Martina. Jack Nicholson. Mustafa Utku. Sarah Wilson Kemsley. And for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in History, Hasnain Ardby.
It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Christopher Unsworth, our student orator, who will speak on behalf of the class of 2018. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at the University of York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2018, I give you Christopher Unsworth.
Hello everyone. Congratulations, you've survived. You've made it to the end. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. From personal experience from doing this before, I know that today can be very stressful. However, if you remember, the most important thing about today is that you allow your families to make a fuss of you and take as many photos as physically possible. Then you'll just be fine. If today is stressful for you, it might be safe to say that this stress is a fitting end to what might have been a stressful individual experience, but also came at a time of great local, national and international uncertainty. As we leave university, many of us feel a great sense of uncertainty regarding our next steps into the big, bad world of work, and I know that I've personally felt this way. It can be easy to only see the negatives in the idea of uncertainty. However, I feel that all of us should seek opportunity in uncertainty and choose to throw ourselves headlong into scenarios rife with it, making bold decisions confidently. Not only is there potential for enrichment in this, but I believe that it is only by doing this that you are able to realise your full potential. I say this confidently as a result of my own personal experience when coming to university, where I embraced uncertainty. I took a risk that at the time I hoped would allow me to make the most of my university life. When I first arrived at the University of York, I made a bold decision. I made the decision to tell every new person that I met that I was gay. Thank you for that. I know it's a shock, it's fine. I had no idea how people would react to this and felt very fearful on many occasions concerning the response I would get. This fear was compounded by the fact that I wanted to do sport throughout university, which might not seem like the stereotypical haven for LGBT people. The first few times I took this approach were truly terrifying. But these interactions were also incredibly satisfying, as they were the basis for many close and intimate friendships with people that I hold in my company nearly a decade later. I found that by taking this approach, it allowed me to build a community of people around me who were able to deeply understand issues surrounding inclusion. The confidence that this community gifted allowed me to take even bigger risks. It allowed me to engage with people who were known to be hostile on the subject. It allowed me to put our university on a global stage as the first university to show active support for international LGBT sporting events. And also, and probably most importantly, it allowed me to inspire others to simply be themselves. This reflection upon my university experience gives me all the confidence that I need to say that we should all embrace uncertainty and the opportunity it brings. Just as important, however, is the idea that we shouldn't venture into uncertainty blindly and alone, as it is only with the confidence from the community that I found at the University of York that I was able to thrive in uncertain circumstances. So, make sure that you hold on to the community that you find in and outside of this room, and take it along with you in your collective futures. If I may, I would also advise that each of you should be kind to each other and ourselves in this approach, as kindness in uncertain times is a highly valued but often forgotten commodity. I'd like to close by saying thanks to my family for being here with me today and supporting me through my highly uncertain and seemingly risky PhD studies at times. I also would like to wish you all the very best of luck in whatever you choose to do with your lives. Thank you very much.
Chancellor, it is a great pleasure to present to you our honorary graduand, Dame Athene Donald, a pioneering interdisciplinary physicist and champion of diversity. Athene is a pioneer of using the experimental and theoretical tools of physics to understand the complexities of soft matter. Her creativity and insight have enabled her to address important and challenging problems, having huge impact in the understanding of a wide range of materials, from starch in foods to the entanglement of molecules in our brain and the effects of aging. Her achievements are a persuasive example of the richness and impact of interdisciplinary science, and the long and impressive list of honours and prizes she has won is evidence for how eminently she is regarded by her scientific peers. Thanks to the tireless efforts of Athene and her fellow pioneers, today we value and celebrate this potential of interdisciplinary science, whilst also recognising that it brings with it additional challenges for the scientist. Having to be conversant in at least 2 scientific languages and to operate effectively in different cultures takes dedication and perseverance. But as a pioneer, she has also had to battle against prejudice and the scepticism of the establishment. Could physics really be applied to the messy world of polymers? As a young researcher in Cambridge, Athene was told by the then Cavendish Professor of Physics that things have come to a sad pass when people at the Cavendish study starch. With typical determination and focus, Athene kept her head down and got on with it. Enabling interdisciplinary science to succeed still requires vigilance, and to this aim, Athene has recently assumed the chair of the Interdisciplinary Advisory Panel for the upcoming National Research Excellence Framework in 2021. As well as pursuing a research career in what was then an unfashionable area of physics, Athene was for some time also the lone woman at the Cavendish in Cambridge, its first female lecturer. Whilst I suspect that for most of that time she continued to keep her head down and get on with it, the challenges she experienced and observations she made in advancing her career have made her a tireless champion of diversity in science and the need for more girls to study physics. Not least amongst the challenges has been that of bringing up a family whilst pursuing an all-consuming career. And here the moral and practical support of key colleagues, and most of all her mathematician husband Matthew, have been crucial. It is typical of Athene that whilst for practical purposes she has kept her head down and got on with it, she has used her influence and large amounts of her considerable energy to actively champion both interdisciplinary science and diversity. Through her extensive committee work, innovations such as the founding of the Physics of Life Network, and her prolific and insightful blogs, she has sought to effect culture change. And in recognition of the impact supportive colleagues and friends have had on her, she has generously found ways to likewise mentor and support her own colleagues and students, providing an excellent role model for us all. Here in York, we have witnessed directly the impact of her influence and her generosity in supporting others of like mind and mission. When we set about recruiting a new research team in the biophysical sciences, Athene readily agreed to help with the selection of a new professor. Within 12 hours of placing the advert on her blog, we had well over 100 expressions of interest, which Athene then rigorously provided individual assessment for. Today, we have a thriving Physics of Life research group in the Department of Physics, a cross-campus Biophysical Sciences Institute, a degree programme in natural sciences, the first students of which we have just seen graduate, and enjoy a campus-wide, genuinely collegial approach to interdisciplinary science. Chancellor, in recognition of her scientific achievements, appreciation of her transformational impact on interdisciplinary science, and tireless championing of diversity, I present Dame Athene Donald for the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa.
Chancellor, Professor Thompson, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. It's a very great honour to be standing here today, and I thank you most sincerely. Thank you particularly to Professor Thompson for those kind words. But the remainder of my remarks I'd like to address to all the successful graduands in front of me. I first came to York when applying to university myself. It's always struck me as a beautiful campus and a place with strong scholarship, and I have revisited it many times since. If I look back to when I was a graduate myself, I may have felt immensely proud, but I was also immensely relieved to have made it through my degree course and out the other side in one piece. There were times when that felt most improbable. The idea that I might one day be awarded an honorary degree certainly never entered my mind. At that point, I had no clear career plan. Times were different back then. Women, by and large, didn't think in terms of careers, and I don't think anyone felt the same pressures as your generation do now about work and the future. I certainly didn't envisage turning into a serious academic. My reasons for choosing to do a PhD were more that of not wanting to enter the world of work rather than a positive choice. And I nearly dropped out of it too. But when I was close to doing that, I decided I wasn't a quitter and I stuck it out, slowly learning to love research. It probably took me about 5 years before I really found my feet, and that was due to a lucky choice of supervisor for my second postdoctoral project, much more than a wise, deliberate choice. I fear it would be all too easy to describe my career as a series of accidents, some luck, and rarely fully formed decisions. As time went on, I think that my career evolved by seizing the challenges that interested me at the time, rather than following a carefully thought through and pre-designed path. My research has moved from subdiscipline to subdiscipline within physics, ending up at the interface with biology, and as you've heard, championing interdisciplinarity. Many of the tasks I've taken on alongside my research have proved incredibly rewarding, even if not obviously logical. For instance, for a while, I chaired the Scientific Advisory Council for the Department of Culture, Media and Sports, and there's really not very much soft matter physics in that. I think the important thing, and something you should all hold on to, is that you learn how to think as you go through your career. And I'm sure you have done a lot of that here. Now, your career service may not advise you simply to follow what interests you without a clear plan, but actually, I don't think it's such a bad way to live one's life. Luck will undoubtedly play a part in your life, as it has in mine, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But you do, as again you have heard, you do have to be prepared to take risks if and when opportunities do come your way. And you must also work hard at developing the resilience to pick yourself up when some risky endeavour leads to a crash, as unfortunately occasionally it will. So as you celebrate today, and as you face up to your tomorrows, take courage, feel optimistic that if you're uncertain now, that uncertainty is not terminal, even if at the moment the future looks very unclear. You need to remember, and it's something my husband always says to me when my world's just gone crashing around me, you need to remember that you never know what opportunities lie just around the corner. I wish you the very best as you go out into our current rather turbulent world, bearing with you all the myriad skills as well as the knowledge that you've acquired at your time in York. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in a moment I will formally draw these proceedings to a close, but first, a few personal reflections. People often ask what it's like to be standing up here on the podium as a team of students, some nervous, some wearing audacious heels, come across the podium. And I have to say my only reaction is what a huge privilege it is to have been the Chancellor and to have had the opportunity to talk to each of you. Some of these conversations are inevitably rather brief and much briefer than I would have liked, but I was very moved by one of you who said to me during the session, these were the 4 best years of my life. And somebody who said to me yesterday, you know, this university has done absolutely everything for me. And I feel that these emotions which highlight for us that a university is not buildings or libraries or laboratories or playing fields. It's about culture. It's about people who support everything that our students do. So I'd be very grateful if you would join with me in expressing your gratitude and ours to the staff, the whole of the staff, the teaching staff, the research staff, but also all the support staff who make this possible, represented in the auditorium today by those members of academic staff who have joined us. Can we join me in thanking you for what you do? I'd just like to single out 2 aspects of today's ceremony. The first was the performance by Honorary, our student a cappella choir, with those fascinating close harmonies interweaving. Absolutely wonderful. They add something very special to these ceremonies. And the second is to Christopher Unsworth as our student orator, and thank you again for those very fine comments, which will be remembered, I know, by all of those present. So the most important role of the Chancellor on these occasions is to make sure that our graduating class do not leave the auditorium and go out into the outside world without having been appropriately sedated. So, on that calming note, I'm going to invite us all in a moment to stand and to give a warm round of applause to our graduating class. I declare this congregation closed. Please be standing.